Amidst the biting cold at the bus stop, a shivering lady had nothing until a child whispered, "Can you be my mommy?" The wind worried the quiet Chicago street as snowflakes drifted down, turning parked cars into soft mounds, and the sidewalk into a faded ribbon of gray. On the northwest side, beneath the distant rattle of the Blue Line, a young woman stood alone at a bus shelter. Emma Reynolds pulled a lavender scarf tighter around her throat. The wool was pilled and thin but familiar, her one steady thing. Her coat barely held back the lake wind. Bare hands, red cracked, clutched a canvas tote with a stub of pencil, a sketchbook with bent corners, and a half-eaten sandwich wrapped in waxed paper. Her breath came in pale bursts. The last bus had shuddered away 10 minutes ago. She hadn't moved. Across the intersection, a little girl shaped a snow family near a city tree box, painted with a mural of robins and magnolias. Lily Harper, 3, wore a pink puff coat, stiff new boots, and a hat with ears. Her father stood nearby in a charcoal wool coat, scrolling through an email on his phone, glancing up every other breath. But Lily's gaze belonged to the woman by the bus sign. Lily waddled across the snow sugar curb, cupping a treasure in her mitten. She stopped at Emma's boots. "Are you cold?" Emma blinked, startled. A small face peered up, red cheeks, wide eyes, breath like smoke. Lily opened both mittens and offered a crumbled graham cracker like an altar gift. "It's my last one," Lily whispered, "but Daddy says we can always get more." Emma crouched, knees popping. The lavender scarf brushed Lily's mitt. Warmth flashed through Emma's fingers, sharp and tender as a burn. "Thank you," she said, voice rough. "That's very kind." "What's your name?" Emma asked. "Lily, I'm 3. She studied Emma with solemn ceremony. "You look like the mommy I draw. She has yellow hair like you, and eyes that are rainy." Emma's smile tilted. The wind skated under the shelter. Lily leaned closer as if sharing a spell. "Can you be my mommy?" Emma's lungs forgot how to work. "Lily," a voice cut the air, measured, clipped, protective. A tall man crossed the slushy curb. Ethan Harper. Late 30s, dark hair combed back against the weather, a posture worn by responsibility. He scooped Lily up, turning to Emma with cautious apology that didn't quite reach his eyes. "She offered me a cracker," Emma said softly. "It helped." Ethan's jaw held. Lily tucked her cheek against his coat. "My apologies if she bothered you," he said. The words were tidy, almost polite. The instinct underneath them, underrun by grief, by duty, was not. "She didn't," Emma said. "She made my day warmer." He nodded, pivoted, stepped away. They had gone 3 strides when a small sound ruptured the wind. A startled inhale, a weight folding. Emma had slipped into the bench's shadow, tote yawning open, scarf slumped, skin washed with cold blue light, her eyes shut with the surrender of someone who's been cold too long. "Dad!" Lily's cry cracked the winter. Ethan's body moved before thought. He crouched, palm to Emma's cheek. Ice. Fingers found the scarf in her fist, clenched like a vow. Something in him loosened, then latched again, changed. "Daddy," Lily whispered into his collar, "we can't leave her." The block was empty. A corner deli's neon humming, a salt truck's distant drone, the LA faint shiver in the sky. Ethan gathered Emma up. She weighed less than his winter coat. "We're just helping until she's okay," he said. The sentence was practical. The feeling wasn't. Warmth came to Emma first as sound. A little hum, a radiator's tap, a kettle's low complaint. Then scent, lavender, dish soap, cinnamon from somewhere. She opened her eyes on a small living room painted soft gray, with white trim and framed snapshots, Lily under summer sprinklers, a paper crown at a kitchen table, a hallway mirror draped with a ribbon. A knitted throw covered Emma. Her head lay on a couch pillow that smelled faintly of laundry and home. Small arms looped around her neck. "Mommy," a sleep-drunk voice breathed. Emma turned slowly. Lily, half under the blanket, kept sleeping. A second breath. "Please don't go, Mommy." Emma's voice thinned. "She does that sometimes," a voice said gently from the doorway. Ethan leaned against the frame with a mug that steamed in the cold, bright afternoon. He looked different here, less iron, more human. "She talks in her sleep, about her mother." She never met her. Emma's throat rasped. I thank you. You passed out. A doctor neighbor checked you. He set the mug on the coffee table, tea with lemon. His hand hovered, tucked the blanket edge closer. He seemed a man who measured the distance between kindness and risk like a carpenter marking wood twice. You can stay until you're better, he said. Emma felt the old reflex stir. Run before the ground gives way. I don't want to be a burden. A flicker of something worked across Ethan's face. There's soup in the kitchen, chicken, he added, and the corner of his mouth tipped barely. By Lily's decree. After he left, Lily's fingers, still sleeping, found the lavender scarf and held it like a tether. Emma watched the child breathe. A tear, stubborn and hot, slid across her temple into her hair. By dusk, Lily came sprinting in with crayons and a folded square of construction paper. I made you something, she announced. Inside, 3 stick figures and a lavender ribbon scribbled around a woman with yellow hair. A small girl with curly brown scribbles held both adult hands. A tall figure stood beside them with hair like a short, dark storm. Above, a square window showed a triangle of city skyline and a tiny, careful L train. That's my family, Lily said. This is Daddy, this is me, and this is you. Mommy has a scarf. Emma's breath hit a soft wall. Is this me? It can be, Lily said, simple as weather. You can be our happy. Emma looked up. In the doorway, Ethan watched the drawing as if it were a verdict. His shoulders eased a fraction. He didn't step farther. He didn't leave either. The house learned her shape slowly. In the mornings, lake-effect light washed the kitchen, and Emma measured sugar for cinnamon toast on a blue plate. Lily devoured storybooks at the table, swinging socked feet. Emma tucked notes in her lunch bag, drawings of rabbits in scarves or clouds with hearts. At midday, when the L thrummed, Emma's fingers ached to sketch. She sketched anyway, Lily's hands, the curve of steam off a mug, the way grief lived in a doorway between rooms and still let laughter walk past. Ethan moved through the home like a man teaching himself to breathe deeper. He checked locks twice, answered work calls low, fixed the sticky cabinet hinge on the pantry without saying it had been broken. He noticed Emma rinsed every cup before it hit the dishwasher. She noticed he lined Lily's boots by the mat with their toes pointing out, ready to go. The space between what they noticed stayed mostly quiet. One night he asked, almost awkwardly, "Dinner, after Lily goes down." Candlelight brushed the edges off the long day. The meal was roasted vegetables and chicken on a white platter. Emma ran a fingertip along the plate rim, a nervous habit. Ethan folded his napkin precisely, unfolded it again, as if precision might give shape to the unnameable. I used to cook with Claire, he said. The name set down a gentle ache between plates. She hated peeling carrots, said it bored the poetry out of a person. But she'd do it if I liked the soup better that way. Emma waited, letting silence be the table's third-place setting. I'm sorry, she said quietly. He nodded once. It's been Lily and me. I'm better at schedules than this. His hand made a small circling gesture that somehow included steam, light, the space between their plates. You're doing better than you think, Emma said. He lifted his eyes to hers. Something unlatched, then shut again, like a cautious window in a storm. Later, after they washed dishes, they met by the hallway. The air was house-warm still. Ethan's hand hesitated at the doorframe and then reached barely for hers. The brush of skin on skin felt like saying a word that might change the room. Emma let the moment live and then stepped back. I'm not ready. He didn't flinch. Okay. She looked at the floor, then up. I need to learn how to stand here, she said, tapping her own sternum lightly. Before I stand anywhere else. I'll wait, he said, and meant it. You could hear it in the calm. Nights found Emma at the kitchen table after the dishwasher sighed. Pencils and cheap pens fanned out. She drew a bus stop under first snow. A teddy bear with a scarf, a little girl's hand in a bigger one. She posted nothing. Keeping didn't feel like hiding. It felt like a garden fenced from wind. A week later, a friend stopped by with a bottle of red and a ring of snow around his boots. Daniel Brooks, creative director at a River North firm, smelled cinnamon the second the door opened. Your house smells like my grandmother's Christmas, he told Ethan, unbuttoning his coat. Then he saw the floor, sketches lined up under the coffee table. He crouched. The room quieted around the scratch of paper under his hand. Whose are these? Emma, halfway into the hall, paused. Just mine. Daniel turned a page. A penciled tenderness ran through the lines. The exact curve of a child leaning. The hush of winter light. The little brave triangle of a city train slipping past. These aren't just anything, he said. You should work. Emma's throat flipped. I did once. It went badly. Her fingers found the scarf end and worried a thread loose. Try again under a pen name, Daniel said, businesslike, kind. No pressure. There's a children's mental health initiative. Illustrations for a foster care companion book. Small budget. Big heart. If you say no, we'll still feed you cinnamon toast. She said yes. LJ was born at the kitchen table between naps and snowstorms. The drawings traveled farther than she did. A therapist in Milwaukee asked permission to print a page. A mom DM'd to say her son carried a copy in his coat pocket like armor. An anonymous blog posted one sketch, 2 mittens holding a scarf between them, and called it the softness we forget to make time for. Emma didn't add her name. It felt right that the work walked ahead without her. One night when the house slept, Ethan sat at his desk, the glow of the screen the only light. The habit he had learned the hard way, search before you trust, rose in his fingers. He typed, Emma Reynolds Chicago Art School article. The old, ugly headline bloomed. Young art student steals design, denies accusations. The piece was fox teeth sharp, all anonymous quotes and confident cruelty. A photo caught Emma, younger, lavender scarf at her throat, clutching a sketchbook like a life jacket. The caption, pretty as a kind of lie. Ethan's thumb hovered over the trackpad. Upstairs, Lily turned in sleep and murmured. He closed the laptop. He didn't sleep. Morning scraped thin. The kitchen light felt colder. Ethan's voice came out careful, clipped as he packed Lily's snack. Emma sensed it instantly. You can feel when a room is holding its breath. That night after the bedtime story, about a rabbit who saves a bear with a blanket, Emma found Ethan at the sink. I read some things, he said, looking not at her but at the sponge. I figured you would, she said. She did not brace. She had learned there was no way to soften the blow and still tell the truth. They say you stole, you lied, you... He turned, words fraying. Her hands folded, open palms. I know what they said. Is it true? 1,000 answers crowded her throat. Only one mattered. I won't perform innocence for you, she said. Believe what you need to. You're a father. Something hardened and hurt behind his eyes at once. He nodded. I can't risk... I understand, she said, already halfway gone in her mind because she had practiced leaving from every room she'd ever stood in. She turned, walked down the hall. On the couch, she laid the lavender scarf, folded clean as a confession. In the kitchen, she left a note. Thank you for warmth. She slipped on her coat. The door clicked shut like a swallowed word. The night was all Chicago. Salt, cold, a bus sighing 2 blocks away. Storefronts glowing with other people's lives. Emma walked into it with a kind of steadiness. Leaving at least was something she could do right. The morning found the house too quiet. Ethan poured coffee he didn't taste. Lily's cereal went soggy. Where's Mommy Emma? Lily asked, voice already bending. He began. The laptop's ugly headline lived like a splinter under his tongue. Lily patted down the hall, checked the guest room, and checked behind the living room chair. She found the scarf folded on the couch. She pressed it to her chest as if that might make it breathe. She left, she whispered. She left me. Ethan stood very still. Lily's tears made a sound he knew too well, like glass powdered under a shoe. Daddy, can we go find her? Lily asked, sudden and fierce. Before he could answer, his phone buzzed. Client call, the kind that paid for boots and school and the mortgage that kept the heat on. 5 minutes, he told the screen, guilt in his chest. Stay inside, he told Lily, guilt larger. He closed his office door. The house heard the latch and decided for him. Lily pulled on her coat and a mismatched mitten. She tucked the lavender scarf in her pocket like a map, and took her bear by the paw. The front door has a particular sound when a small brave person opens it. The winter met her like a dare. She went toward the bus stop. A block from the corner, a slide of ice sent her to the ground. Her knee kissed the pavement. Pain found her in a bright rush. "Mommy!" she called into the gray morning. "Mommy!" Emma was cutting through a small park, head down, trying to outwalk the ache under her ribs, when the call cut through everything. She ran toward it without looking for cars, for reasons, for the wisdom of it. She turned the corner and saw pink and snow and a bear, and the paper crease of a small mouth trying not to cry. She was on her knees before the sound finished, Lily in her arms, the world coming back into color around the shape of the child. "I'm here," she said, breathless. "I'm here, baby." The old scarf came free. Emma wrapped it around the bleeding knee with a tenderness that was half prayer, half stubbornness. Lily's fists fisted the front of Emma's coat. "I went to find you," Lily hiccuped. "I didn't want you to be gone." Emma pressed a kiss to the crown of the hat with ears. "I'm sorry," she said. "I shouldn't have left like that." Ethan arrived at a run, coat open, fear unhidden for once. He stopped hard at the curb when he saw them. Lily's face tucked under Emma's chin, Emma's hand steady at the knot of scarf around the small knee. All the arguments he'd prepared dissolved like frost. "I was wrong," he said. No preface, no defense, just the sentence a decent man says when he means to change the next ones. "I should have asked. I should have listened. He looked at Lily, at Emma, at his own hands. "I'm sorry." Emma met his eyes. There was sadness there, but no victory, no hunger to be right. She nodded once. "Please come home," he said. Emma's okay was small and true. You can come back to a house and not yet come back to a life. Emma moved through the rooms like water. Gentle, necessary, everywhere and nowhere. She cooked soup. She washed a small bloody knee and wrapped it with care. She laughed at Lily's jokes about bears with jobs. But at the table she kept her back straight, her hands folded after the plates were cleared. The lavender scarf returned to the back of a chair, not her neck. Ethan noticed the new distance the way you notice when a clock stops ticking. The absence grows a shape. He washed dishes slower, not to finish sooner, but to make the moment last long enough that Emma might choose to say something. She did not. He chose to accept the waiting as penance and permission. After bedtime one evening, he knocked softly. Emma opened the door a crack. "Dinner?" he asked. "Just us?" A pause, a yes. Candles again. The same roasted things, but the air different. He told her about his day and stopped gripping everything like it might fly. She told him about the way Lily drew circles, starting at the bottom, not the top, and what it meant about how she thought. He didn't know why that mattered. He knew exactly why that mattered. After in the hallway, he reached for her hand. She met it halfway, the touch held. Not rushed, not refused, simply held. "I read the old article because I'm a father," he said. "But I believed it because I was afraid. I won't do that again." "Fear feels like truth until you breathe," Emma said. "I've been learning how to breathe," he said. "It's slower work than I thought." "Me too," she said. And for the first time, the smile reached her eyes. Work found Emma because kindness introduced it. LJ's drawings turned into a little book with big quiet, hold fast, little heart, for kids with turbulent beds and brave mornings. A school counselor in Hyde Park stapled pages together and called them Pocket Courage. A grandmother in Pilsen wrote to say she taped one drawing, two hands mending a scarf on the fridge, and the kitchen felt warmer. A freelance check arrived with Daniel's note. "No pressure. More if you want." Emma bought fresh pencils and a new mug with a tiny painted L train around the rim. She still signed LJ, because starting again didn't have to mean starting in the light. But the light is persistent. A journalist at a local magazine noticed the scarf, the lines, the little Chicago secrets hidden inside, the skyline squares, the blue line, a street sign that said Milwaukee Ave. She traced the work back to old names. She called a retired professor who had tried to defend a student years ago and hadn't been heard. The story shifted. The girl they tried to silence. How a young artist kept drawing ran with a black and white photo of Emma laughing at something out of frame, scarf caught mid-turn, eyes unafraid. The piece read like a careful undoing of a knot. No heat, all light. It named what had happened, what hadn't, and ended with a line so simple it felt like a benediction. Sometimes the truth just takes the longer train. Ethan read it at the kitchen counter, the late sun licking the edge of the page. He put the magazine down like it might bruise if he moved too fast. Then he went to the doorway where Emma was threading ribbon through a stack of finished pages for Lily's class. "Emma," he said. She looked up. "I'm proud of you," he said, and the words surprised them both with how much they meant. 2 weeks later, the Resilience Initiative invited LJ. And then, when the story broke, Emma Reynolds, to serve as creative director for that year's campaign. The opening would be at the Chicago Cultural Center beneath the great stained glass dome, with snow pinwheeling outside, and the city dressed in its winter best. She said yes, not because the city was watching, but because a little girl had once offered her a broken cracker and asked for a mother, and this felt like a way to say thank you to the world for making space for both of them. The hall glowed like warm glass. Families threaded through sunlight pooled on marble. Kids in puffer coats pointed at drawings hung in neat constellations, mittens holding, rooms with doors open, bears with blankets, a train that always arrived. Emma stood at a simple podium. Her dress was navy and modest. Her hair curled softly, her hands didn't shake. She spoke about drawing what you wish you had and then recognizing it when it finally arrives. She thanked the kids first. She meant it. She smiled, but her eyes searched the back of the room, as if some part of her still needed to know where home stood. "Mommy," the voice rang like a bell you hope for. Lily barreled through the crowd, bear in one arm, paper in the other. Emma dropped the notes she didn't need and folded down to Lily's height. The hug made a brief, private world in the middle of marble and glass, and the grown-ups around them suddenly remembered how to breathe. "I made you something," Lily said, reclaiming the podium with the authority of a person who owns their love. A staffer lowered the mic. Lily unfolded a paper with sidelong creases and grids of crayon. "Home is not walls or floors," she recited, careful but brave. "It's warm tea, soft blankets, and someone who opens the door. It's a hug when the world feels too big. It's where I hear a voice say, 'Come in,' so I don't care about house or city. Home is where Mommy is." Emma covered her mouth. Somewhere someone sniffed, everywhere someone did. Ethan walked up the side aisle with a small velvet box. He looked odd there in a navy suit, and a face not afraid to be seen caring. "This isn't a proposal," he said when he reached her, his voice steady just for her but kind enough for the room. He opened the box. A delicate gold ring, a small heart-shaped stone, a simple thing passed down like bread. "It's a promise you are part of this family, already." A dozen scenes rushed through Emma. Bus stop, scarf, soup, a hallway almost touch, a child's voice in sleep. "I never had a place that kept me," she whispered. "Not like this." "You do now," he said. He slid the ring on her finger. The applause was soft, like a blanket being pulled up. Lily wedged herself between them, fiercely pleased with her own engineering of fate. The three of them made a shape you could recognize from any distance, a family. The next morning, the house smelled like vanilla and sundae. Sun spilled through the kitchen like honey. Frost dropped diamonds along the window edges. Emma flipped pancakes while Lily drizzled syrup with the serious concentration of a surgeon. Syrup overflowed. Laughter overflowed more. "Family hug," Lily declared, and they obliged. 3 people and a bear in a cinnamon-sweet tangle. Later that week, Ethan led Emma out the back door with his palms over her eyes. "No peeking," he said. "I have impeccable self-control," she said, then added, "mostly." He took his hands away. A small studio cottage sat at the end of the yard where the crabapple tree leaned. Soft gray siding, white trim, tall windows catching morning. A flagstone path there and back. Inside, easels stood like kind skeletons. Jars of brushes waited, shelves lined with sketchbooks. Along one wall, her own framed drawings made a quiet choir. In a corner, a little display of prints with a hand-lettered sign. Half of all, sales support kids in care. Over the door, a wooden plaque. Studio LJ. Someone had burned a tiny L train along the bottom edge. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. You made me a room to keep what I love alive. Ethan shrugged in a way that meant I hope I got this right. You gave us ours back, he said. She kissed him, not like a question, like an answer. Winter softened. The city wore a thin scarf of thaw. Evenings they sat by the fireplace, a second-hand mantle cleaned and painted, a basket of wood stacked square. Lily nested between them in footy pajamas, bare-dressed now in a scrap of lavender fabric Emma had saved and sewn. Mugs of cocoa steamed. The television muttered some old movie to itself. Mommy, Daddy, Lily said around a yawn. Can we stay like this forever? Emma looked over Lily's curls at Ethan. His smile arrived with the ease of a habit learned and kept. We already are, sweetheart, Emma said, brushing a crumb from Lily's chin. We already are. The lavender scarf hung beside the mantel, no longer a lifeline or a goodbye, just a warm thing where it belonged. In a home that had learned the sounds of second chances, a kettle sighing, a pencil scratching, a small voice reciting, two grown voices practicing softness, the low, steady pulse of a city outside that knew something about winter and the long, patient work of thaw. And when the L whispered past on clear nights, Emma sometimes lifted a window and listened. The train sounded like an old promise finally kept. Late, maybe, but still arriving. She reached for her pencil. Somewhere behind her, a child turned in sleep and murmured, Mommy. Somewhere beside her, a man shifted and settled, a steady weight, a room you could rest in. Emma drew the room as it was, 3 cups on the table, the bear's new scarf, the ring glinting like a star that had decided to come inside. She added one small thing at the end, a door, a little open. Not because anyone was leaving, but because love, to live, needs air. Outside, the city breathed. Inside, so did they. If this story moved you, like, comment, and share it with someone who needs hope today. And don't forget to subscribe to Life-Touching Stories, where every soul deserves a story that touches life.